Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into one of the absolute most stunning opening weekend shocks in recent Premier League history. We're going to break down exactly how a massive upset unfolds, step by step, and honestly, challenge everything we think we know about dominating a football match. If you love dissecting tactics and digging into the real story behind the stats, you are definitely in the right place. Okay, 72%. You know, in modern football, if I tell you a team held the ball for 72% of the match, you'd almost certainly assume they completely dismantled their opponent, right? You'd imagine a game played entirely in one half of the pitch, ending in a super comfortable victory. Well, Manchester United absolutely controlled the ball for a staggering 72% of this match, but as we're about to see, that single metric tells a highly deceiving story about what actually went down on the pitch.
It all comes back to that classic saying, football is not played on paper. And that perfectly captures the central paradox of our explainer today. On paper, this match was a foregone conclusion. All the pregame predictions, the analytics, the squad valuations, they literally all pointed in one very clear direction. But football happens on grass, against human beings, with very real emotions and tactics. And in this specific match, everything written on paper was completely turned upside down.
So let's start off with Section 1, Expectations versus Reality.
The contrast right before kickoff was just staggering. Manchester United rolled into town with a newly strengthened squad, massive financial resources, and huge optimism. Michael Carrick had built some real excitement after turning the team's fortunes around the previous season. They had the famous names, the pedigree, and the heavy weight of global expectations. On the flip side, you had Hull City, a newly promoted underdog, whose fans were, quite simply, just celebrating their return to the top flight after an agonizing 9-year absence. It was supposed to be a nice little welcoming party for Hull and a routine 3 points for United.
That brings us to Section 2, the opening shocks. Right from the starting whistle, instead of rolling over for the visiting Giants, Hull completely flipped the script. They didn't just sit back in a low block. They came out with aggressive energy and complete, utter belief. They proved immediately that they were up for a physical fight. Then, in the 17th minute, the first shockwave hits. A chaotic set piece creates massive confusion inside the Manchester United defense. The ball breaks loose and Ajayi is right there to smash it home. 1-0 Hull. But they absolutely didn't stop there. Just before halftime, it's another set piece, another defensive breakdown from United, and Nobel Mendy finds the back of the net. Just like that, in the blink of an eye, it's 2-0.
Now, it's totally crucial to understand that this wasn't just some newly promoted team parking the bus and getting lucky. Not at all. Hull executed an absolute tactical masterclass. They played with high intensity, actively forcing United into mistakes rather than just passively waiting for them. They kept this incredibly organized physical defensive shape that totally frustrated United's attackers. And most importantly, when United showed vulnerability on those set pieces, Hull punished them ruthlessly. They won the key battles where it actually mattered most.
Which leads us into Section 3, the possession illusion. As the match moved into the second half, a fascinating tactical mystery started to unfold. For that entire second half, Manchester United dominated possession. They were endlessly passing the ball around, desperately searching for an opening, while Hull City only saw 28% of the ball overall. Honestly, if you were just glancing at these stats without knowing the score, you'd assume United were putting on an absolute clinic out there. But as we know, possession without penetration is completely hollow. Because despite all that time on the ball, and despite controlling the geographic center of the pitch, Manchester United just couldn't turn that control into clear, dangerous chances. The scoreboard? It remained completely frozen. Hull City 2, Manchester United 0. United might have had the ball, but Hull City had absolute control of the match's destiny.
When you compare their play styles in that second half, it reveals exactly why this happened. Manchester United pushed forward, endlessly moving the ball side to side, essentially just watching the minutes melt away as they struggled to create anything meaningful. They leaned entirely on this concept that having possession would eventually, somehow, equal a goal. Hull City, on the other hand, defended with absolute rigid discipline. Every single time United tried to build up, Hull closed the spaces. Every clearance felt monumental. Hull proved a fascinating tactical reality here. You really only need the ball for a few dangerous moments to win a football match. You definitely don't need it for 90 minutes.
Moving to our final section, a brutal reality check.
When the final whistle finally blew, the stadium absolutely erupted. And for good reason, because of one number, 52. That number holds immense, almost unbelievable weight for this fan base. Before this incredible afternoon, Hull City had waited exactly 52 years for another league victory over Manchester United. Think about that. Entire generations of fans had never seen their team beat this specific giant in league play, and they pulled it off on their very first day back in the Premier League after almost a decade away.
The contrast in these metrics serves as a brutal early reality check for Michael Carrick and his squad. Having 72% possession and yielding 0 goals proves definitively that reputation, famous names, and pretty passing around the midfield are completely useless without execution in the final third. It's the story of a global giant fully humbled by a promoted underdog who perfectly capitalized on the tiny fraction of the ball they were actually given.
So what are the big takeaways from this explainer? Well, first off, preseason hope and flashy new signings absolutely do not guarantee results. Second, and this is maybe the most important point for modern tactical analysis, possession alone cannot win matches. It's a tool, not a victory condition. Third, your club's historical reputation is not going to save you from a highly disciplined, motivated opponent. And finally, pure intensity, tactical organization, and raw desire can actually overcome massive gaps in financial resources and individual talent. Sometimes, the most shocking result is simply created by the team that wants it more.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on as you digest all the incredible stats and tactical blueprints we've unpacked today. In modern football, who truly controls the game? Is it the team endlessly circulating the ball, or the team perfectly defending a lead? It completely challenges how we measure true dominance in the sports we love. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. And remember to always keep questioning the stats you see on paper. I'll catch you next time.